Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Pada Sakana Lalita Vishakam Om Ganati Mirandasya Gyananasakaya Chakshur Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Namo Vishnupadaya Radhikai Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayana Nami Shri Krishna Lila Katane Sudaksam Audarya Madhurya Gunaista Yuktam Param Varenyam Purusham Mahantam Narayanam Tam Sirsa Namami Tridandinam Bhakta Shiromanim Cha Shri Krishna Padabdivite Karidhi Chaitanya Lilamrita Sarasaram Narayanam Tam Satatam Prapatti Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachari Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Namo Vishnupadaya Acharya Sindhurupine Shri Srimad Bhakti Prayojan Keshurtinamine Atimatya Charitraya Swasritanam Chapaline Jiva Duke Sadartaya Shri Nama Premadayine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Namini Shri Vaishabhanavi Devi Daitai Kripade Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhavena Madhurya Premadya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtai Dinatarine Rupanuga Vyudapa Siddhanta Dvantarine Namo Gaur Kishoraya Saksat Vairagya Murtaye Vipralambara Sambode Padam Pujayate Namah Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gaura Vibhava Bhumista Nidasta Sajjana Priya Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Sri Jagannatayate Namah Vanchakalpatarugastya Kripa Sindhubhayevacha Putitanam Padanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Jayatam Surator Pangor Manandamatergati Matsarvasva Padambojo Radha Madana Mohana Divyat Vrindaranya Kalpadrunaga Srimatratnagara Singhasanasto Sri Sri Radha Sila Govinda Devo Prashtalibihi Sedaman Usmarami Sriman Rasarasarambi Vamsi Bhakta Tatastitaha Karsham Denu Swarer Gopi Gopinata Sri Stunaha Vrindai Tulasi Devyai Priyai Kesavasacha Krishna Bhakti Padi Devi Satyavartahe Namo Namah Panchatattvatmakam Krishna Bhakta Rupa Sarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Krishna Prabhu, can you sing the song in Gaudia? Sing one song of Guru Tapa. You can give me a microphone. Guru
Gaurange Raduti Pada Jaradana Sampada Gaurange Raduti Pada Jaradana Sampada Shejane Bhagati Rasusa Sachinandan Sri Gaurang Mahaprabhu ki jai. Jai Gaur Premanande. By the mercy of Sri Sri Gauranitai, now we remember the lotus feet of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. Radhe Jayo Jaya Madhav Daite Jaya 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 Madhav बरसने वाले की जय, वृषभनुराज कुमारी जी की जय, जय जय श्री राधे। हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Kripa Maikam Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. Everyone. Hey Krishna, hey Yadava, hey Saketi, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. Sham Shundar Shrandashika Smaraha Sumurali Manara Radhikaraskamama Kripanite Supriya Charna King Kurim Kuru Tavaivasmi Najivami Tayavana Tivikaya Devi Tam Namam Charantikam. First of all, I offer my Sastang Dandavat Puspanjali, my heart like flowers, thousands of times at the lotus feet of my holy master, my supremely worshipable spiritual Gurudev, Asmintiya Paramarajatam Guru Pada Padma, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada, Ashtol Tarasta Sri Rupanuga Charivarya, Shila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Secondly, I offer my pranam thousands of times at the lotus feet of my Param Gurudev, to Srila Prabhupada and to all of our Sri Rupanuga Gaudia Guru Parampara. And finally, I offer my pranam to all the son of Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, Vanchikapapuja. So, by the causes myself, Sri Gauranga Gauranga, the Gaudiya Vaishnavas throughout the world have begun the grand celebrations to celebrate, to honor the 150th anniversary of Prabhupada Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur in this world. Yes, this is very, very auspicious time and a chance for all the devotees to try to enter into the Vichardhara, the current of the conception of Prabhupada Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. That will be very beneficial for all of us. So you may know that in honor of this occasion, we have published some lectures of Prabhupada Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, which have never been published before. Very, very important. This is his lecture on the subject of Gaudia Darshan. So we want to discuss this evening. You know that in the late 19th century, late 1800s, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was preaching so powerfully, especially to all the intelligentsia in Calcutta. And he was establishing the birthplace of Mahaprabhu and writing many, many books. So he made the Navadvip Dham Pracharini Sabha. It was an assembly of Vaishnavas to develop Navadvip Dham and spread the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu throughout the world. But after the disappearance of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, then we see that our Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, at that time his name was Sri Bhashavanavi Devi Daita Das, Brahmachari. He left the Navadvip Dham Pracharini Sabha that had been established by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and he established the Gaudiya Math. And he began to write and speak in such a way that was quite incendiary to them. In the Navadvip Dham Pracharini Sabha, they became very upset. And so one of the followers of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur from that association, he wrote to Srila Prabhupada and he said, saying to him, why did you go and make this Gaudia Math? And why are you seem to be opposing us? In reply, Prabhupada Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he wrote that one evening in the summer of 1915, just before Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur entered into the Nitya Lila of Sri Sri Radhakrishna, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur called me, he said, and he said these words: the corrupted seed of the conception of Rupa Kaviraj will rise up like a poisonous snake in the hole of a tree, in the hearts of the devotees, in the Navadvip Dham Pracharini Sabha, and bite them, and they will deviate from the path of Shuddha Bhakti as taught by Srila Rupa Goswami and the pure Rupa Nuga Vaishnavas. Then Prabhupada said to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, as long as I am alive, I will oppose it. I now stop the rising up of misconception within this fledgling movement that you had begun in Navadvip Dham. So Srila Prabhupada, he told that devotee who was inquiring, it's because of these words of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur that I am opposing you. You have some misconceptions. And if you continue on the path that you are going and you don't hear what I'm saying, then you will have a very bleak prospect. Your prospects will become very bleak on the path of bhakti. So, what is it? There were many learned persons in that assembly. They were not illiterate persons. They knew. They were experts in Bengali literature and Sanskrit literature. They were very educated in the Vaishnava literature also. But their ideas were wrong. How is it possible? What did Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur do to correct them? Now, the mistakes that they were making, these are not uncommon mistakes. They can be found everywhere. So only if a person will hear very deeply the explanation of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, then we can become free from those misconceptions. I have now just published this lecture, which is an answer to many of these questions. And Prabhupada has explained in a quite a technical way. When Gurudev wrote his introduction to this, he said that Srila Prabhupada's churning of the subject of the Spotvad Vichar, in the beginning, is somewhat technically challenging. But afterwards, as his lecture goes on, it is just as if a person is without hesitation, indiscriminately just distributing jewels from the treasure house of his own bhajan. And Srila Gurudev said, I have a strong faith that if anyone will study this lecture, then they will become very inspired and they will want to enter into the Sampradaya of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And those who are already in the Gaudiya Sampradaya of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, their hearts will become purified and very filled with pride, not in themselves, but pride in the teachings of Mahaprabhu, Rupa Goswami and their illustrious Guru Parampara. So those are some of the comments that Srila Gurudev made about this. So let us come to the subject. Perhaps you know, in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Krishna has been described there, the absolute truth. Vadanti tat tattva vidastatvam yajganam advayam prameti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyate. Sutta Goswami is saying, Vadanti Tattvavida, those who know the truth, they have realization, they say that the supreme truth is the Advaya Gyan Tattva. Advaya means non-dual. Non-dual, indivisible reality. Advaya Gyan, he is conscious. And Tattva, he is the supreme truth. So he is the non-dual reality, conscious reality. See Krishna. So that makes Krishna outside of the category of our mundane knowledge. Because all of our thoughts of our material mind and intelligence and all the things we know, they are in the category of duality. And Krishna is in the category of non-dual consciousness. Now, in this world, when we learn a subject, how do we learn it? We learn it by collecting pieces of information. You go to school every day, you learn one thing, you learn something else. And by collecting all these pieces of information, then we put those pieces of information together and we make a conceptual structure. And now we feel ourselves to be familiar and fluent in that subject. So Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Sutaka calls this the method of piecemeal accumulation of knowledge. So that is, okay, if you're learning a subject which is divisible, which is khanda, which can be in parts, but is Krishna a divisible entity? Krishna is akhanda tattva, he is an indivisible entity. So you cannot know him by learning, by taking pieces of information and then putting them all together and accumulating some conceptual, the edifice, and then admiring it. Oh, look what I have constructed in my mind. Yeah? If you learn about Krishna like that, then that edifice that you are admiring is actually not Krishna. That is your manodharma, religion of the mind only. So then, the problem comes is, because in our material life we are used to receiving education and learning subjects in this piecemeal accumulative way, then when we come to the path of Krishna consciousness, we just immediately assume, because actually we don't have any experience of any other type of learning, we assume that this is the way that we'll learn about Krishna from Guru. So we go on listening, we collect things and we try to understand. But actually Krishna cannot be known in this way. So then the question arises, how is Krishna known? So Krishna is known through the medium of Shabda Brahma. Shabda Brahma. Transcendental sound. Transcendental sound is such that when the pure Vaishnava who has realization of the beautiful Swarupa of Krishna speaks, then the Swarupa of Krishna is the Mukarita. It becomes sound and leaves his lips, and then it enters into the ear of the disciple. And when it enters into the ear of the disciple, that sound, it has what is called spot dharma. The word spot means bursting. So the sound immediately causes spot. The appearance of Krishna, not his foot or his hand or his eye. Krishna is indivisible. Krishna, the complete Swarupa of Krishna manifests in the heart. Depends on the purity of the heart. If the devotee is in the stage of Nishta, he has the Ekagrata Chitta, he is listening with one pointed attention and without any other desires, and Yabilasta Shunyam, then the Swarup, the form of Krishna, will appear in the heart just by hearing. If the devotee's heart is more pure, in the stage of Ruchi, Krishna's sweet qualities and his associates will also appear. If this devotee is more advanced in the stage of Chakti, as Asakti, as he is listening, then the devotee's own Swarup will appear among those associates, and he will begin his internal seva. So this is actually the meaning of the word hearing. Note it down, it's very important. This is why Prabhupada is speaking about Gaudia Darshan. Because on the path of pure bhakti, hearing implies darshan. Chanting implies darshan. Remembering implies darshan. So, this is described very beautifully throughout the Shastra. What does Krishna say in the beginning of chapter 9 of Bhagavad Gita? Raja Vidya, Raja Guyam, Pavitram idun uttamam, Pratyakshavagavam dharmyam, Susukam kartamavyam. Hey Arjun, this is the king of knowledge. It is the king of secrets. It is the most pure thing. And it is a Pratyakshavagavam dharmyam, Pratyaksha dharma. What does Pratyaksha mean? Perception. Bhakti is perception. It happens simultaneously. Perhaps you know another verse. Bhakti paraishanu bhavo viraktir anyatra chaisa trika ekakala prapadyamanasya yathasadasus tusti pustishurapano nugasam. See, Krishna explained to Uddhav that when we engage in bhakti, three things happen at the same time. Just like when we eat. When we eat, we get the tushti. That means we feel satisfaction. Tushti. We get pushti. That means we were weak, but now we feel strong. Our strength increases. And tushti shuddha apayo. The disappearance of hunger. So just as when we eat, these three things happen at the same time, not later. Right? When you eat, you don't eat and then 10 minutes later you taste something. Right? No, it's right there and then, at the same time as you're eating. So in the same way, when a person has actually entered into the realm of bhakti, then when they engage in hearing, chanting and remembering, right there and then at the same time, they experience three things. First, bhakti parishanu bhavo viraktya. Bhakti here means that the savourity, the joy, the ullas, the heart expands and one feels joy. That is analogous to tushti, the satisfaction. And then pushti, nourishment. Here nourishment is bhakti. What does it mean? Parishanubhav. Parishanubhav. What does it mean? Para means supreme. Isha means Lord. Parisha, supreme Lord. Anubhav means realization. There and then, direct realization. Bhakti, Parishan, and Virakti. So that realization, that's like nourishment. Because when we see Krishna in a new way, and his Leela is manifesting in a new way, then our bhakti is nourished. And then Virakti, there is no question of attachment to this world. We forget everything here is dry and dead. So bhakti is like this. It gives immediate and simultaneous realization. That is real hearing, real chanting and real remembering. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he mentioned that the teachings of Rupa Goswami have been protected by a very strong wall of the Sandarbhas of Srila Jiva Goswami. He protected them. So Prabhupada Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur used to quote from the Sandarbhas to prove this point. That Gaudia Darshan, usually in the West the word Darshan is translated as philosophy. Philosophy is a bunch of ideas. But actually Darshan doesn't mean a group of ideas. Darshan means what? Seeing. It comes from Drish Dhatu. Darshan comes from Drish Dhatu. Lut Pratyay makes the word Darshan. And it means avalokana. Avalokana. To inspect. It means sakshatkar. To have direct experience. It means upalabdhi, to attain and realize. So this is the meaning of darshan. So Srila Jiva Goswami gives an example. One day, there were 10 people going on a journey. And they were traveling and they came to the bank of a river. When they came to the bank of the river, they hired a boatman, and the boatman took them across. When they got out on the other side, the leader of the group deputed one of the members of the group. Hey, you just count and make sure that we all cross the river. So then that person, he began to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. Someone's missing. He asked his friends, I think someone's missing. Can you count? His friend said yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You're right, there's someone missing. Where did he go? And who is it? So they were a bit confused. And then one elderly wise person was watching this quite funny scene. And he came up to the person who was supposed to count, and he says, Dasamas Twamasi. Dasamas Twamasi, that means you are the 10th person. And the moment he heard, you are the 10th person, his bewilderment, his confusion was gone. So, our acharyas have given this as the example of what it means, Sravanam, to hear. That when a person actually hears Shabda Brahma, that means our sense of hearing is material. And in India, when children are small, they have one ceremony, it's called Karna Bed Sanskar. You know, ear-piercing ceremony. So this Karna Bed Sanskar, the ear-piercing ceremony, is an analogy. It is a metaphor for the transcendental ear-piercing ceremony, which is known as Diksha. Diksha. Perhaps you have heard Gurudev would sometimes speak about Vidvat Rudi Diksha and Avidvat Rudi Diksha. Vidvat Rudi Diksha, actual Diksha, and like just the ceremony is different. So actual Vidvat Rudi Diksha, real initiation, is the Karna Bed Sanskar. It is the ear-piercing ceremony where Sri Guru, from the lips of Sri Guru emanates the Shabda Brahma, and it pierces the material covering of the ear and enters into the heart, and in the pure chitta, then just as all ignorance is destroyed by Dasamas Twamasi and the knowledge comes, so in the same way, the disciple, he realizes the beautiful Surup of Sri Krishna. And gradually as advances, he realizes Nam, Rup, Gun, Parikar, Seva and Lila, like this. So, it's very important to understand that when the word Sravan is there in the scripture, hearing, it means this. It doesn't mean other things. Understand? So it's important. A person may be practicing bhakti for many years. Yeah, I'm hearing, I'm chanting. But this is the actual meaning. The Vidvat Rudi. The actual meaning of hearing, chanting and remembering. So Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur explains that if the disciple, he is not surrendered fully, that means, you know, in Gita Krishna says, Tat vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena seva upareksanti te gyanam gyanastattva darshana. Try to know the truth by approaching a spiritual master. But three things have to be there. Pranipat vritti. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, our mind is full of movements of pran. All our thoughts and feelings and ideas are just movements of pran in the chitta. So there are many chitta vrittis, many memories, many dreams, many imaginations, many remembrances of the different material activities and so on. But when the disciple has no other chitta vritti except for pranipat vritti, that is the mood of being in the state of continuous prostration before Guru and his parampara. Pranipat vritti, pariprashna vritti, atato brahma jigyasa, only the desire to know what is the truth. And seva vritti, how can I serve and please my spiritual master? When these three vrittis are only there in the heart of the disciple, then he can receive the Tattva Darshan. Jnaninas Tattva Darshanaha. Those who have the darshan of the truth can give that Tattva. So how does it happen? Yasya Devi Parabhakti Yata Devi Tatagaro Tasait Katita Yata Prakashante Mahatmana. For one, as he is devoted to Krishna, he has Parabhakti, pure devotion to his Guru. then tasyaite katita hyarta. Katita means the kata, that which is spoken by Guru, the artha, the actual object that he's referring to. Krishna. Harikatha and Krishna are not two things. Harikatha is not a description of Krishna. Harikatha is Krishna. So that artha, that very substance, katita, which is spoken, that is Krishna himself, prakashante mahatmana. It is illuminated at once in the heart. That is hearing. So only the Satshishya, the real disciple, can hear. And only the Satguru can speak in such a way to bring about the spot dharma, the bursting nature of the transcendental sound, Shabda Brahma. So, what happens if the disciple is not surrendered? Right? He has other vrittis, other ideas, attachments and ambitions in the mind. Then when he hears, then that sound of Shabda Brahma is intercepted, it is interrupted, it is interfered with, and the sound comes not into the heart in its natural form, but in four the perverted ways. The first one is called Paritschina Gyan. Paritschina means pieces. It is knowledge in pieces, like data, information. So then, the disciples is experiencing that learning from Guru is like going to college and learning a subject. You get the pieces and put it together just like this. Like learning a mundane subject. Because his heart is obstructing the reception of the Shabda Brahma, the spiritual sound. So Paritschina Gyan, knowledge comes in pieces, or knowledge that itself is Paritschina, divided by time and space. Because Harikatha is the Nitya Seva Prakatya. It is the manifestation of Nitya Seva to Radha and Krishna. So, that Nitya Seva is eternal. No past, no present, no future. It is beyond time and beyond space. But, if the heart is not open and pure and surrendered to Sri Guru, then you will get the Paritschina Gyan piece of information. That's the first type. The second type is called Sankirn Gyan. Sankirn Gyan means that the message of Sri Guru is contracted and compressed. The details are not manifested. So it's become so vague and not clear. Just like it is said about Rupa Goswami. Nirakirahamsana. Rupa Goswami is like a swan who can separate milk from water. So when he heard from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, only he was able to separate the mixed bhakti from pure bhakti. To separate the pure bhakti into sadhan bhakti, bhav bhakti and prema bhakti. To separate the sadhan bhakti into vaidhi bhakti and raganuga bhakti. To separate the prema bhakti into sneha, man, pranaya, rag, anurag, bhav, mahabhav, rutabhav, adi rutabhav, modan, mohan and madan. In other words, when he heard from Mahaprabhu, the knowledge that he received in his heart was not sankirn, it was not contracted, but it was all unpacked into its beautiful, crystal clear and crisp varieties of the transcendental world. So that is not sankirn Gyan. He really realized everything. So then the next type is called Vikrita Gyan, knowledge which is Vikrita, distorted. And lastly, Vivarta Grasta Gyan, the knowledge which is under the grip of illusion. So that's like, for example, a person may hear Krishna played his flute in the middle of the night, and all the young married wives of the gopis, they left their husbands and they came to meet with them. They served Krishna and Krishna enjoyed loving pastimes with them. If someone hears this, oh, this is very bad. Krishna is such a lampat, such a rascal, is not even following any dharma. For I am not worshipping Krishna, I'll worship Lord Ram. He's Maryada Purushottam, he's very strict, he follows dharma, not this Krishna. So like that, someone they hear and they completely misunderstand everything. They have the Vivarta Grasta Gyan. They project their own mundane understanding onto God Himself, who is the dharma of this world, which is meant to control the living beings who are in ignorance and who are subject to so many weaknesses by which they become entangled and go to hell. Dharma is for them, it's not for Bhagavan. That transcendental realm of Golok Vrindavan, not even the smell of Dharma can go there. It is not for that person who has no weaknesses, who is completely pure, and who is the foundation of all existence. So, when the sound Shabda Brahma comes, and the disciple is not surrendered, then these four types of the material understanding arise. And then, then that person can think, oh, I have understood the subject, I can quote all the verses, I can, you understand? And then they teach it to the next person, they teach it to the next person, and it becomes what? Apasampradaya. This is how Apasampradaya comes about, due to the incomplete transmission of Shabda Brahma. Due to the contracted experience of sport, the contraction, not the full manifestation of sport. From this comes all the various Apasampradayas and deviations. Aul, Baul, Kartabhaja, Neda Daraveshasai, Sahaja Saki Betki, Smarta Jats Gosai, Atibari, Chudadari, Goranga Nagari, Totakari 8, Arasamni Nahikari. These are 13 Apasampradayas. And they come in, they manifest in this world again and again. Even you don't have to go to an Apasampradaya and learn about that Apasampradaya. It automatically happens when there is the incomplete manifestation of the spot by hearing from Shiguru. It happens automatically. And so the same Apasampradayas appear again and again. For example, has anyone heard of the Ritvik people? Right? Ritvik philosophy. They tell, oh, now, yeah, oh, you're joining, yes. Bhakta John, come here. Do you want to be Prabhupada's disciple? We can manage it. You can take initiation from Prabhupada. Though he just joined last week. So the Ritvik philosophy, they have this idea that a person now can take initiation from a Prabhupada in this example, but in principle from a guru who became aprakat, who became unmanifest. Of course, all our acharyas are still alive. They are still here. They are still with us. But they're aprakat. They're not manifest to conditioned souls. So we have to connect with them through a liberated soul who is here now. Understand? So, but that idea, this Ritvik idea, which seemed to come about, whatever, in about the 1989, around that time, 1990, this is not new. This is already there, hundreds of years ago. That is called the Kartabhaja Sampradaya. The Kartabhaja Sampradaya teach that you can take initiation from a guru who is a historical person who has left many, many years before even. Okay, so now I want to speak a little bit about the Spot Vichar in the beginning of the book, because some devotees are reading it and finding it's quite challenging. So I try to make it clear. In order to illustrate the wonderful nature of pure bhakti, how it gives the what is called Jyotiti Pratita. Jyotiti means immediate, and Pratita means experience. So if a person will chant without aparad, without offense to the holy name, Ner aparad nam nale pai premadam, they'll get Krishna Prem. Why? Because even Namabhas gives Jyotiti Pratita, immediate experience of Sri Krishna. Rupa Goswami has written, Yadabhaso pyudvan kavalita bhavadvanta vivabho disham tattvandanam api dishati bhakti pranainin dinastasyoda tam jagati bhagavannama tarane kritite nirvakta kaya mahimanam prabhavati. What learned person can speak the glories of the holy name in this world? It means even very educated persons, they don't know the glories of Harinam. The glories of Harinam are such that even the Abbas of the son of the holy name, if it will touch someone, then the whole darkness of material existence will be expelled. And they'll have a vision of the divine realm and understand the nature of pure bhakti. So this is called Jyotiti Pratiti, the direct experience. So in order to bring this to light, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur speaks about the history, the philosophical history of how it is that we can communicate with each other. In other words, a sound comes from our lips, the other person hears it, and he understands, oh, you mean this thing. It's something we take for granted because every day everyone is talking all the time to each other. We just take it for granted. But in ancient India, so many sages, they were debating with each other. How do we understand what we are saying to each other? So this is the question. The main grammarian who has written the Sanskrit grammar, which most popular, famous Sanskrit grammar is Panini. So, and Patanjali, the famous yogi Patanjali, has also written a commentary on Panini's grammar. And they have a theory how we understand words, and that is called spotvad. Spotvad. They call it spotvad. And the reason is this. They say that when I am speaking to you, then each letter is coming from my mouth one at a time. So if I want to say the word eating, bakshana. Bakshana means eating. So ba-ksha-na. There are 3 syllables here. If I only say ba, you don't know what I'm saying. If I only say ksha, you don't know. If I only say na, then you don't know. So, by the individual letters, you cannot understand. But then how do you understand? Then you must understand by the letters when they are together. Bakshana. Okay? But, Patanjali, Panini, Bhartrihari, also a very great Vyakarana, that means a grammarian, they say, no, you never experience the letters together. Because when I say ba, before I say ksha, the ba disappears. Right? Just slow down. If you have a tape recording, bakshana, and you slow it down, it goes ba, sha, na. So the letters, you never hear them together. You only hear them one at a time. So since the letters one by one cannot convey the meaning, and we never actually hear them together, we hear them individually, then how do we understand what the word means? Those who deeply meditate, they'll consider this. How do we understand? So they say that Shabda, sound, is the cause of the universe. And that sound has a power. It is called the spot. So when we utter syllables, bakshana, a little bit of the spot comes, and then some more, and when you say the last syllable, then the full spot manifests, and that illuminates the meaning. So the syllables illuminate the spot, and the spot illuminates the meaning in your mind. So this is called spotvad. So the yogis, the grammarians, so many philosophers, they follow this. Now, the followers of Jaimini Rishi, the Bhattacharyas, the followers of the Purva Mimamsa, Karmakanda school, then they argued, like Kumaril Bhatta. He argued, no. We don't accept that there's anything called spot. I'll tell you why. Because first of all, if there was such a thing that when you utter a word, it illuminates the spot, and then the spot illuminates the meaning in your mind, if there were such a thing as the spot, if someone said a word to you that you never heard before, then you would understand what it means. So we directly perceive that we don't understand words that we've never learned before. If someone may speak to you, use any vocabulary you're not familiar with, and say, oh, what does that word mean? You want to look it up in a dictionary. So they said, it's our direct experience that we don't understand words that we have not learned before. So that's our direct experience. So we have no direct experience. You are denying our direct experience. And you are also accepting the experience of this spot, which you have never had an experience of the spot. No one has seen the spot. So you deny something that you experience, and you are accepting something that you don't experience. These are two faults that you are doing. Now the Spotvardis say, yes, we don't experience the spot, we only experience the illumination of the meaning coming from the spot. So on the other school, they're called Varnavard. Varna means syllables. It means that sound doesn't have some deeper level called spot. Sound is just the syllables that you hear. There's nothing further behind that. So that is called Varnavard. So they say, look, you admit that you don't experience the spot. So if you don't perceive the spot, then how could it illuminate the meaning in your mind? The example is given, if there's a dark room, there's some chairs there but you cannot see them. If you introduce a light, now you can see the chairs. But if you are not able to see the light, you will not see the chairs. So the thing which is illuminating, the object that you are seeing, you must be able to see that, otherwise it would have no power to illuminate it. Understand? So in this way, the Varnavardis have given these three arguments against Spotvard, and even Jiva Goswami himself has quoted these arguments in his Sarva Samvadini. That's his commentary on Tattva Sandarbha. They give one other argument that is called Kalpana Gaurav Dosh. Kalpana Gaurav Dosh means the overcumbrousness of argumentation arising by the unnecessary multiplication of causes. You say the sound, the syllables cause the spot, and then they all add up, and then there's the full spot, and then the spot causes the illumination of the meaning. So you've multiplied so many causes when it's our experience. We just hear the words, and if we've been educated what that word means, then we understand it. So the Varnavadis, they come from this side. Now, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, it's true that Jiva Goswami has refuted the Spotvard of the grammarian school, which is material, that is called Bahispot, external spot. But by doing this, his intention is to accept the Antarspot, the philosophy of inner spot. So generally people only know the grammarian's idea of Spotvard, so that's been rejected. That is Bahispot, external spot. But there is a internal spot, Antarspotvad, and that is described in the 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. There Sutta Goswami said, Shrinoti ya imam spotam Shukta srote cha shunya drik Yasya vadvajate Yena vadvajate yasya Vyakti akash atmana. He's describing how the Vedas appear in this world. The Supreme Lord has two bodies. Shabda Brahma, Param Brahma, Mamu Bay Shashwati Tanu. The Lord said, I have two bodies. My one body is this body, and my other body is Shabda Brahma, my sound body. Mayopa Brahmita Bhumna Brahmanananta Shaktina Bhuteshu Gosharupena Vishesho Naiva Lakshate. In my form of Shabda Brahma, I am spread everywhere. And when a person, like at the beginning of the universe, Lord Brahma, he sits and Om. He says Om. And he controls all of his senses. All of his senses become inert. He withdraws them from outer activities. And when the senses are suspended from their activities, then from inside the Supreme Lord in the heart, he hears that sound of Shabda Brahma. Om. And then by his mercy, he wakes up the Jiva and allows the Jiva to hear it. And so that sound now appears to the consciousness of the Jiva, and that transcendental internal sound appearing to the Atma when all his senses are suspended and withdrawn from external sense gratification is called spot. And that spot manifests first Brahman, realization of Brahman, then Paramatma, and then Bhagavan, see Krishna himself. So this is what has been described by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Shikshastakam. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said that there are 6 Vedangas, you know, 6 Vedangas, the 6 branches of Vedic knowledge, like Jyotish, astrology, Nirukta, etymology, Kalpa, Vedic ritualism. One of them is called Shiksha. So Shiksha means how to pronounce mantras in such a way in a Vedic sacrifice that they are effective. Because in mantra there should be matra, there should be emphasis on certain syllables, there should be swara, correct pronunciation, and there should be the level also. There are 3 levels of intonation when one says the mantra. Purusha evi dagam sarvam. Sometimes you have to go up, sometimes you have to go down. So this science of how to pronounce the Vedic mantra is called Shiksha. Don't take it just as in a general way. Shiksha means instruction. Shiksha means the science of how to pronounce the mantra so it's successful. So Srila Bhakti-Saraswati Thakur said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was given Shikshastakam. And this Shikshastakam is teaching us how to utter the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that it becomes successful. Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. That the full power of Prem will manifest and will enter into Radha Krishna's eternal service. This is why it's called Shikshastakam. And the Spotavad has been described by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by the words Vidyavadhu Jivanam. Vidyavadhu Jivanam. This Sankirtan is the life and soul of one very chaste bride. Just like a newly married girl is completely focused on her husband. She never thinks of anyone else or anything else. She never serves anyone else. She's completely chaste and faithful and only serves him. So in the same way, that Vadu, that bride in this metaphor, is Vidya, transcendental knowledge of Krishna's Goloka Vrindavan. So she never serves anyone who follows karma, jnana, yoga, tapasya, or even in Kali Yuga, those who do the other angas of bhakti. No. Vidya Vadu Jivanam. Only Sankirtan is served by all transcendental knowledge. In other words, by uttering the first Namabhas and then Shuddhanam, all transcendental knowledge appears in the heart. This is the meaning of the antar sport, the inner sport. So Rupa Goswami expressed this also with using the same language. He said, Atashi Krishna Namadi Na Bhavat Grayam Indriyai Sevan Mukhi Jivado Swayam Eva Spurati. What does Spurati means? Spurti, yes, sport. The word Spurati means he bursts. In other words, the sport dharma of the name reveals everything within. Nam, Rupa, Guna and Lila. Himself is manifest. So this verse is describing the sport dharma of Harinam. Now, one may say, oh, I am hearing, I am chanting, but I am not experiencing this. So that means that that person has not entered into the realm of bhakti yet. Rupa Goswami describes in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 64 angas of bhakti. Right? So the first 20 angas. Guru Padasray, Diksha, Guru Rasevan, Saddhama Prita Shiksha, Sadhu Maganugamam, taking shelter of Guru and serving him, testing each other. Then when faith is strong, after that, then initiation, Diksha. Then service to Guru. Then asking questions about Saddharma, the eternal Dharma of Bhakti. Following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas like this, there are 20 angas of Bhakti. After this description, then Rupa Goswami said, these 20 angas of Bhakti are Praveshaya Dwara. Actually, they are the door to enter into the experience of Bhakti. This is something we have to do, we have to practice. But we are not experiencing real Bhakti. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam and so on. They are not listed in the first 20 angas. They come later. So the actual experience of the Sravanam, what is that? Yetu Todiya Charnam Bujakosha Jigrantikana Vivarai Shrutivata Bhaktyagriita Chanaya Parayata Tesham Naipasinata Hridayam Buruat Sapumsam. Lord Brahma, he said, Oh my Lord, your devotees, they smell the fragrance of your lotus feet by hearing Harikatha. That fragrance of your lotus feet is carried on the breeze of Harikatha and enters into their ears. So the pure devotees, they don't smell Krishna's lotus feet with the nose, they smell with the ear. The ear gives the spurti in the heart, and then directly Krishna's fragrance, softness, beauty, everything is manifest. Now, Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, after discussing what is a real spotvad, the antarspot described in Srimad Bhagavatam, now he gives a breakdown of how we interpret Shastra. Because you may know, all of you are devotees, you've been practicing for a long time. Sometimes there's a disagreement about Siddhanta, is it correct?
Yes. No.
No, not sometimes. You're wrong. All the time. So the question comes, why is there this crisis of interpretation, right? It's a crisis because, as the poet William Blake, he said in one poem, both read the Bible day and night, but one reads black and one reads white. So two people, they're reading the same book, but they have a completely different idea of what it means. Right? So, I have written one commentary also to this, and I'm recommending to the devotees, perhaps you'll find it more valuable. Go to the back of the book, read the commentary first, and then go to the beginning and then read Prabhupada's explanation. Because Prabhupada's explanation is so profound, it's quite difficult. So I've given some keys how to understand the main ideas. Then if you read Prabhupada's lecture afterwards, it will be much, much easier to understand. So, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur also did that with the Krishna Samhita. He said, I've written in Sanskrit, but I've written a commentary. You read the commentary first and read the book afterwards. So with this book also, you'll find it very helpful. Now, why is there this crisis of interpretation and confusion in the Vaishnava society? And what did Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur do to resolve that crisis? This is one of his great, great contributions. I know this philosophy is a little bit hard. And I run the risk, if I'll just speak high philosophy, people will get up and slowly leave. And tomorrow no one will come. So, but what can I do? Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, if I will desist from speaking the truth, because someone may not like it, then I immediately fall in the category of atheist and I become an enemy of the Vedas. So I cannot do that. So I have to tell the truth, the reality of Bhakti Tattva. So Prabhupada explained that everyone is reading the books, right? So in the books you see on the page there are words. Word is called pada. Pada. Now every pada, every word has a meaning. That meaning is called artha. So padartha is the meaning of the word. Now the power of a word to manifest its meaning to someone, that is called vritti. Vritti. Padartha vritti. The power of the word to manifest its meaning to you. Now these vrittis are of different types. So the first type is called abhidha vritti. Abhidha vritti means the direct primary meaning. The dictionary meaning. Direct primary meaning. The second type of vritti is called lakshana vritti. Sometimes we use words in such a way, but the direct meaning doesn't make sense. Then we have to go to lakshana, that means associated meaning. For example, everyone raise your hand. Everyone raise your hand. You're not listening to me. Why did you do this? I said raise your hand. I never said raise your arm. You should have just come like this. Did anyone say raise your arm? I never said it. Yeah. Why? Because you did not take the direct meaning. You took the lakshana vritti, the associated meaning. So you raised your arm. But I never said. Why? Because you think if I raise my hand, this doesn't, what will this do? This will do nothing. So you thought the direct meaning is useless. We have to go for the lakshana vritti associated meaning. Correct? Good. Now you're having the pratyaksh praman, direct perception, you experience this truth. So then, the next type of meaning, the classical example is Gangayam Goshaha. Gangayam Goshaha means the village on the Ganges. So everyone knows you cannot build a village in the water. So if someone says Gangayam Goshaha, the village on the Ganges, what does it mean? It means on the bank of the Ganges. So you naturally take it in that way. And so then the next type of meaning, this is called the Vyanjan Vritti, that is the suggested meaning. Suggested meaning. In other words, the person is saying something, but he wants you to understand some suggestion which is in that. Just like one poet, he said, when I was 16 years old, I thought my father is a fool. But now I am 20 years old, and I think my father is actually very smart. It's amazing how much progress he made in only 4 years. So you're laughing. I did not say anything directly funny, but you feel it. That the person who is speaking is he's thinking his father has progress. He's the one who grew up. And now he's mature, he can appreciate what he did not appreciate before, like this. So the words are there, but what is the suggestion? There's some things sweet and comedic in the suggestion there. So Vyanjan Vritti is like that. And actually Srimad Bhagavatam is the masterpiece of Vyanjan Vritti. Shukadeva Goswami is speaking in such a way that what he wants to say is not saying it directly. And all the rasa, the nectar of what he wants to express is in the suggestion. And so only those who are the Mahabhagavad Vaishnavas, they can hear Srimad Bhagavatam and read Srimad Bhagavatam, and they can feel all the waves, not only suggestion, dwani, but inside that suggestion there's another suggestion, anudwani, and in that another one, pratidwani, like this. So in this way they relish the Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, now, of these three types of vrittis, just come back to the first one, the direct meaning, Mukhya Vritti. This Mukhya Vritti or Abhida Vritti, it also has three types. The first type, that is called the Yogiki Vritti. It means the etymological meaning. In other words, words are made from verbal roots and suffixes, and if you break down the parts, you can find out what the word means. Yogiki Vritti. For example, if you say the Pachak, who cooked the feast today? Raise your hand. Raise your arm. Who cooked the feast today? Yes, Krishna Mohan. Yes. So, he is a Pachak. So, if you take the word, the verbal root Pach, it means to cook. And then you add the suffix to it, becomes Pachak. So the person who cooks is called Pachak, the chef. So today Krishna Mohan is Pachak. So this is an example of the Yogiki Vritti, how to take the word, look at the parts of the word, and from the etymology we understand it. But actually we don't understand all words like this. Another type of way of understanding, this is called Ruddhi Vritti. Ruddhi Vritti. It means the conventional meaning. In other words, the word, by etymology, it may mean something else, but everyone takes it in a particular way. For example, if we say mandap, we're going to the one Harikatha program. Where? Oh, it's in the garden of Krishna Mohan. There's a very beautiful mandap. Mandap means some shelter has been made and everyone goes there to have a festival. This is called mandap. But if you break down the word mandap into its etymological parts, then manda means ornaments, bhushan. And pa means one who protects. So mandapa etymologically means one who protects the ornaments. But when I tell you, oh, we're going to the program in the mandap, you don't think, oh, we're going to the one who protects the ornaments? You know. You take mandap in a conventional way, that we always use it in that way, so that is called Ruddhi Vritti. Then, there's another type, this is called Yoga Ruddhi Vritti. It's a combination of two. etymology and convention together. Yoga Ruddhi Vritti. So example is Pankaj. When we say Pankaj, what do we mean? What does Pankaja mean?
Lotus.
Lotus, yes, lotus. Panka means mud. And Ja means born. So what is born from the mud? Well, there's probably hundreds of things born from the mud. Right? Frogs, toads, reeds. There's so many things born from the mud. But, so we take the etymology, Pankaja, born from the mud. We accept that, but that's not the whole story. By convention, we take it to mean only one of the things born from the mud. We don't mean the frogs and the toads. We mean what? Pankaj is lotus. So this is a combination. Now, Ruddhi Vritti, the middle one we are discussing, Ruddhi Vritti, the conventional meaning, this also has 3 types. The first one is called Vidvad Ruddhi Vritti. This is the important thing to learn. Vidvad Ruddhi Vritti. Why? When Prabhupada, he left that Navarit Dham Pracharini Sabha, because the Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said some deviations were coming. So he left and he established the Gaudia Math. And Prabhupada Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he gave some definitions of Gaudia Math. Vidvat means a Vidvan is a learned person, an enlightened person, a pure devotee. So Vidvat Ruddhi Vritti means, what does this word mean to a pure Vaishnava when he hears it? In other words, what spurti comes in his heart when that sound enters his ear, that is called Vidvat Ruddhi Vritti. Now, for example, what does Gaudia mean? A worshipper of Vishnu is called a Vaishnava. A worshipper of the Krishna is called a Karshna. And a worshipper from Bengal, Gaudiya Desh, is called a Gaudiya. No. General people will take it like that. A worshipper of Gauri, Gauri means Radhika, who has a beautiful golden complexion, is called a Gaudiya. So the Gaudiyas, they are one pointed in their loving service to Radhika. That is the Vidvat Ruddhi Vritti. The meaning according to the enlightened persons of Gaudiya. We can give another example. We say, Sisi Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai. So when you put a Ju or G on the end of a word, what does it mean?
Ju means G.
G. What does it mean? G. What does G mean? Prabhu G.
Respect.
Radhanath G.
Affection and respect.
Huh?
Affection and respect.
Respect and affection. Yes, that's in a general speaking, in Sadharan Ruddhi Vritti, in ordinary talk. But in Vidvat Ruddhi Vritti, G means Jivati. He lives. Vinod Bihari Ji, not a statue, he's alive. Understand? So G means he's alive. It is respect, but it means Ji, Jivati, he's living there. He's breathing, singing, dancing, everything. He's not a statue. Pratima Nahitumi Sakshat Brajendra Nandan. You're not a statue, you are directly the son of Nanda Maharaj. So, all words, according to pure devotees, when they hear them, they have a disporti of the profound meaning of those words. So that is called Vidvat Ruddhi Vritti. So exactly the definition given by Prabhupada, he said, Vidvat Ruddhi Vritti reveals Advaya Gyan. It reveals Advaya Gyan. It reveals non-dual consciousness directly. So that is Vidvat Ruddhi Vritti. Then the next level is called Sadharan Ruddhi Vritti. Sadharan means ordinary, the ordinary conventional meaning. Sadharan Ruddhi Vritti means the power of the word that makes the material intelligence concentrate on material objects as they are defined in conventional worldly dealings. So that is called the Sadharan Ruddhi Vritti. If a very educated person, they will read the Shastra, they will not have the Spurti and realization, Vidvat Ruddhi Vritti, they will have the Sadharan Ruddhi Vritti. they'll understand it in an ordinary way. For example, if they see the word Shravanam, they'll think, oh, it means listening. But the pure devotee, when they hear the word Shravanam, they'll think, oh, it means directly experiencing Krishna in the heart. Understand? This is the difference between the Vidvat Rudibriti and the Sadharana Rudibriti. So don't be in Sadharana Rudibriti. We have to come to Vidvat Rudibriti. So then, the next one is called Agya Rudibriti. Agya Rudibriti means, Agya means an ignorant person. So, when an ignorant person hears the Shastra or reads the Shastra, then there is even further contraction of than the Sadharana Rudibriti, and it establishes the customs of persons in the mode of Tamagun and Rajagun. So those in Tamagun and Rajagun, they take this meaning, Agya Rudibriti. Those who are more in Sattvagun, they'll take the Sadharana Rudibriti, and those who are pure devotees, they take the Vidvat Rudibriti. Vidvat Rudibriti. So, we can give some example how a person misunderstands the Shastra by taking the Sadharana Rudibriti or Agya Rudibriti, and how a person understands the Shastra properly by taking the Vidvat Rudibriti. For example, Rupa Goswami Pad in Bhaktarasamrita Sindhu, he describes who is eligible for Radhanuga Bhakti. He says, Tad tad bhavadima durye srute diryada prakshate nata shastra nayuktimcha talobutpati lakshanam. The meaning is, when a person hears about the loving moods of Krishna and his associates, then his heart is attracted to that, and his intelligence is no longer dependent on logic, reason, and the injunctions of the scripture. This is talobutpati lakshanam, the symptom of the awakening of lobe, greed. So here's the definition of eligibility for Radhanuga Bhakti. So then you can raise your hand. Are you eligible for Radhanuga Bhakti? When you hear the sweetness of Krishna and his associates, then you think, I like this very much. And you don't depend on logic and Shastric injunctions. Yeah? So many people, they'll take it in that way. They think, when I hear about, it's very sweet, Krishna's associates. Like yesterday, we discussed many pastimes of Vrinda Devi and Madhu Mangal and Nandimukhi and Lalit and Vishaka and Radhika and Vrindavan Bihari Lal Kunj Bihari Sri Krishna. Yeah? Everyone likes it very much. That time you don't depend on logic or reason or any Shastric injunctions. So then you can think, yeah, I was listening, I liked it, I'm not dependent on these things, I have agreed, I am qualified for Radhanuga Bhakti. Yeah? So a person can think like this. Why? Because they take the Sadharana Rudibriti, ordinary meaning of the word Srute, when you hear. Just like you can hear your alarm clock in the morning, beep, 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 wake you up. Or you can hear a car going by in the street. You take the word hear in this way. This is a Sadharana Rudibriti. But in Vidvat Rudibriti, when Srute, that means upon hearing about the loving relation between Krishna and his associates, what does it mean in Vidvat Rudibriti?
Spontaneous flow of vision of Krishna.
Yes. It means when you're hearing, and as you're hearing, you see the associates in your heart and how they're interacting with Krishna. And you go, beautiful, I want to be like that. And then one is not dependent on Shastra or logic or anything. This is the symptom that greed has come. Understand? So, if you take the Sadharana Rudibriti, then everyone thinks, I am qualified for Radhanuga Bhakti, and they just start speculating and everything. But if you take the Vidvat Rudibriti, then you realize, oh, this is actually very high. So in the commentary on that verse, Jiva Goswami, he says directly in the commentary, Srute Kinchid Anubhuti. Here the word hearing means some realization of what? The relation between Krishna and his associates. So, Jiva Goswami in Bhakti Sandarbha, he said, Pratamam nam na sravanam shudanta karanam apeksham shudech antakarane tad rupa shravanena tad yogyata udoy bhavati. Tad udoy yogyata bhavati, excuse me. So Jiva Goswami here is saying, in the beginning one must hear deeply the holy name until the chitta becomes clean. And when the chitta is steady, then when you hear about Krishna's qualities, the qualities awaken. There's a spurti in the heart. And then when Krishna's 64 qualities have appeared in the heart, then when you hear about his associates, there's a spurti of those associates. Like this. So it means that person who, hearing the pastimes of Krishna, is having the spurti of the associates. Unless he went through the stage of seeing Krishna's form and Krishna's qualities, he is not going to have the spurti of the associates. Then how will he follow them? So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said that if a person is trying to do bhajan, but they have no internal darshan, internal vision, then their bhajan is not bhajan. They are only like one hunter going into the forest in the middle of the night and shooting arrows here and there, hoping maybe I'll hit something. Right? So shooting arrows in the dark and bhajan are two completely different things. So our bhajan actually depends on the Kram Prakash, the gradual manifestation of spot dharma. Swayam eva spuratyadaha. It depends on the gradual manifestation of internal realization. So if a person tries to go beyond their level of internal realization, then their bhajan becomes imitation. So Prabhupada uses the word pautalikata. The word putalika means a mannequin. Right? If you go to a shop and you look in the window, you'll see so many mannequins are there, dressed up in all the latest fashions. So these mannequins, they're not real people. They're just putalika. Putalika. They're just the mannequins, they're dummies. They're fake, they're imitation, not real people. So, if our internal bhajan goes beyond this dharma of Nam, now we do the pautalikata. It is idolatry, the worship of our material chitta vrittis. It is an imitation of bhajan. So Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, when pautalikata occurs, then there is the appearance of the prakrit sahaja bhav. And I'm giving so many definitions, very precise and scientific terminology. You know, because this word sahaja, actually sahaja is a wonderful word. It's worshipable for us. In Chaitanya Charitamrita he said, sahaja gopira prem nahi prakrit kam. The prem of the Braj gopis is sahaja. Saha means with and ja means born. They're born with it. Sahaja means natural. The love of Braj gopis is natural. It's not by force or speculation. They just naturally love Krishna and serve Krishna. So the gopis are called aprakrita sahaja. Aprakrita. Prakrita means material nature. Aprakrita means supernatural. So Braja gopis are aprakrita sahaja. Supernatural, spontaneous lovers of Krishna. But those who, they don't take shelter of the spoke dharma of the holy name. Like Mahaprabhu's guru told him before initiation, Mahaprabhu said, oh, Gurudev, can you teach me the Vedanta? He said, you are a fool, you cannot understand. Just understand this. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam, kalo nashteva, nashteva, nashteva gatiranyata. There is no other way. We cannot go around the holy name. Tabi jani aparada tohete prachur. Krishna nama bija tohe na karayankur. In Chaitanya Charitamrita. The holy name of Krishna is like a seed. And it sprouts. Nam, Rup, Gun, Parka, Lila, like this. But here Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami is saying, if you don't experience that the name is sprouting in your heart, that the spurti is coming, I think probably the English word sprouts, it must come from sport. Right? Because all English is based on Sanskrit. So I think sprout, it must have come from sport. If the seed of the name is not sprouting, in the heart, then what is the cause? Tabe jani aparada tohete pracho. You should know there are many nam-aparads. So many offenses to the holy name have been committed, and so this experience is not coming. So this problem, it's necessary, you have to solve this by good association and go deeply into Nam Tattva. Oh, that reminds me of one thing. I have another book. First aid for chanting the holy name. If you want to, try to improve japa every day and go more deeply into the holy name. Please study it very carefully. Here we have shown, when we pick up our japa mala, immediately we face with 15 different obstacles. But we may not know how to overcome them. So how to make the adjustment to overcome those 15 different obstacles is explained here in just one verse in Sanskrit and with a commentary as well. So you can, don't forget. If you get this, also get this one also. So it's very important. We cannot enter into the Vishva Vaishnav Raj Sabha without entering first into the Namahat, the marketplace of the holy name of Nityananda Prabhu. This is also one important teaching of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. He said, what is Vishva Vaishnav Raj Sabha? The royal assembly of the Vaishnavas of the universe. Universal assembly of, royal assembly of Vaishnavas. He said, Vishva Vaishnav Raj, the king of all the Vaishnavas in the universe is Krishna in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is Vishva Vaishnav Raj. And his Sabha, his assembly, is the Vishva Vaishnav Raj Sabha. And he is made the main minister of that assembly, Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami Pad. And in that Vishva Vaishnav Sabha, there's one branch. That is the recruitment office. And the recruitment office is the Namahata of Nityananda Prabhu. So Nityananda is going everywhere. Bolo Krishna, Bhajo Krishna, Karo Krishna Shiksha. Chant the name of Krishna, worship Krishna, and follow Krishna's teaching in your life. And making everyone chant. And bringing them into the marketplace of the holy name. Becoming free from all Nam-aparads. And so that the seed of Nam Beach begins to sport. That's his Nityananda's function. But then, after being in the Namahata, the marketplace of the holy name, and becoming free from offense by the mercy of Nityananda, then you have to enter into the Vishva Vaishnav Raj Sabha under the guidance of Rupa Goswami Pad. They are the Rupa Nugas. So Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur has made this distinction. Just like Srila Narottam Thakur here said, Arako benitai chande korona hoibe sansara basan moro kabe tujto habi. When will Nitai be merciful to me? And my sansara basana, my material sanskars will be washed away. That's Chaito Darpana Marjanam. The mirror of the heart will become cleansed. Chaito Darpana Marjanam. And then after that, then what? Rupa Raghunatha Pade Hoibe Akuti Kabe Hamabu Jabose Yukala Piriti. After that, when the samskaras have been cleansed from the heart by the power of the Namabhasa will do that. Then one must come in the shelter of Rupa and Raghunath, and then one can realize what is Yugal Priti, the beautiful love and affection of Radha and Krishna. Hey no nitai bine bai Radha Krishna paitene. Without the mercy of Nityananda, we cannot get the mercy of Radha and Krishna. So only those who have been cleaned and endorsed by Nityananda Prabhu, then they can go from his Namahata into the Vishva Vaishnav Raj Sabha under the guidance of Srila Rupa Goswami Pad. But at the time of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, persons who are still chanting Namaparad, who interpret the Shastra according to Sadharan Rudibriti and not according to Vidvat Rudibriti, they're trying to, by force, enter into the Vishva Vaishnava Rajyabha of Rupa Goswami. Neglecting all the very basic important things. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur has cleared this. The material Spotvad has been rejected because material Spotvad deals with the sound as it appears in the Jadakash. Jadakash, that means material space. It is external. But this Spotvad of Srimad Bhagavatam, that is dealing with the Chidakash, the manifestation of sound in spiritual space. So when the heart becomes clean, then Ritka Kane Viraje, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, the sun of the holy name rises in the sky of the heart and illuminates everything. Then one begins to see the associates of Krishna and becomes very greedy to follow after them. This is really the Raganuga Bhakti. So there are many things to say. I just want to conclude this evening with a few words about the greatness of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. One day, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was preaching to one very wealthy landowner. And he was not a devotee of Krishna, he was a devotee of Durga. And he said to Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, said, my Durga is so beautiful. She's more beautiful than your gopis. And your Radha. When Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur heard this, he could not tolerate. And at once, due to his deep love for Radhika, spontaneously, he began to describe the beauty of Radhika. Tadit suvarna champaka pradipta gaura vigrahe mukha prabha parastu koti sharadendu manjali. How Radharani's complexion, her beautiful eyes, you know, when Krishna sits next to Radharani, then she looks at him, her eyes are so beautiful, Krishna starts sweating. Radharani, she flickers her eyes like this. Why? Because her eyelashes will fan Krishna to stop him from sweating. But even though Krishna is fanned by the flickering eyelashes of Radhika, still he's sweating more sitting than flickering. Oh. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur began to describe the beauty of Radharani. But then he realized, actually this person is not qualified to hear this very high things. This is not even Brahman or Paramatma, not even Vaikuntha, beyond Dwarka, beyond Mathura. Even in Braj, the love of Radha Krishna is secret. It is hidden. Gopis hide from everyone this secret love. So then he realized, on the one hand, I should not speak to him. But on the other hand, I cannot stop myself from defending Radharani because she said Durga is more beautiful than Radharani. So there was a strong pulling in his heart. I have to describe the glories of Radhika, and another pulling in another direction. I cannot describe it in front of this unqualified person. And so because he could not decide what to do, and there was so much tension in his heart, Prabhupada Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he just fainted. Unconscious. He's not speaking by some memory or some idea, something he read in a book. He's directly realizing everything. When Srila Gokishodas Babaji Maharaj spoke Harikatha to him, it opened the vision of the spiritual world to him. This is the Vidvat Ruddhi Diksha, actually. So on another day, just before Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was about to leave this world, he knew that his Gurudev, Dikshiguru and Shikshiguru, Srila Gokishodas Babaji Maharaj and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they were calling him, soon you will have to come and be with us forever. So then he wanted to give some final instructions to his disciples. Our Param Gurudev was there, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami, and he told this to our Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami. So what I'm telling you is direct. Direct from one who was there who heard from one who was there. So Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami was there, Srila Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj was there, Srila Bhakti Vilas Tirtha Maharaj was there, and a few others. Srila Prabhupada, he said, I came to this world with a mission, but I am not satisfied. I wanted to speak about the glories of Vipralambaras, separation, and the reasons, the internal reasons for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance in this world. I wanted to speak about the glories of the Prem of Braja Gopis, but I had to spend, not all, but most of my time in cutting the jungles of the impersonalism and the various apasampradayas, Sahaja, Saki Beki, Atibadi Churidari, and so on. So most of the time I spent clarifying the philosophical points. I had to do it. I had to cut the jungles. I've cut so much jungle, but still so much remains. But I was not able, to my heart's desire, to express all the things I wanted to express. And when he said this, then his face became very reddish, like he was about to explode. And he became very grave. And he said, Yasya kadapi vasananchala kelan utta dhanyati dhanya pavanena kritartamani yogendra durgamagatir madhusudanopi tasyana mostu brashobhanu bhavodishepi. The verse of Sri Radharasa Sudanidhi of Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur. He's describing Yogendra Durgamagatir Madhusudanopi. There are Yogendras, the masters of mystic power. Brahma, Shiva, the four Kumaras, the Nava-Yogendras. So many great personalities. And it's very difficult for them to see, even for a moment, Madhusudan Krishna. Who is Madhusudan? Means like a bumblebee who drinks nectar. That Krishna who drinks the nectar, the other Amrit of the lips of Radharani is Madhusudan. It's very difficult for them, those great personalities, to see Krishna. But that Krishna, for him, sometimes it's very difficult to see Radharani. Radhika may be in Man and refuse to see him. She's far away on the other side of Radhakund. And the Sakis won't let Krishna come there. So Krishna from the other side is wondering, oh, where is my Radhika? And then the breeze blows and it touches the cloth, the corner of the cloth, the anchal, the veil of Radhika. And her cloth has become permeated with Radhika's Angasaurabh, beautiful fragrance. And the breeze catches the fragrance of Radhika, and now it was moving quite quickly, but now it became intoxicated by that fragrance. So the breeze became Dhir Samir, very slow breeze. And that intoxicating breeze was staggering across the surface of Radhakund, where Krishna was on the other side, feeling separation. And it entered into the nostrils of Krishna. Oh, and he folded his hands and gave pranam to that breeze. Thank you, you are so merciful to me. You have made my life a success. So the great Yogendras, they would think, oh, my life is successful if for a moment I could see Krishna. But that Krishna, he thinks his life is a success if from far away he can just sniff the fragrance of Radharani. So how great is Radharani? So Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur, I am not qualified even to give pranam to Radhika. I am just giving my pranam in the direction of Vrishabhanu Maharaj's place. In the direction of Srimati Radhika, I just give my pranam in that direction. Radhika is so high, her prem is so glorious. How Krishna is completely vasibhut, controlled by the prem of Radhika. So Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was in deep bhav. I wanted to explain this. Then he said another verse from the Prema Purabheda Stotra. Prabhupada's face was reddish, he was exploding. And he said, Smara vilasita talpe jaupalila manalpam kramakriti parahinam bibrati tena sardam Mita iva pariramba ramba vritaika vashma Shanamapi mamaradha nityam anandayatvam Shanamapi mamaradha nityam anandayatvam Oh Srimati Radhika, when will my eyes become filled with ananda seeing you? At what time? At that time when you secretly meet with Sri Krishna in a beautiful kunj of Vrindavan and both of you are reclining together on a beautiful bed of flower petals. And as you play together, you are talking. Right? Is so much jalpa. Analpa jalpa. Alpa means a little bit. This is not a little bit. Analpa. Lots. Radhika's talking so much. She's embracing Krishna and enjoying pastime and talking to him. Why? What is she saying? Kramakriti parihinam. She says one sentence and then another one, but there's no kram, there's no sequence to them. They don't, one sentence says this, and something, another sentence says that, another sentence says this. There's no sequence to what she's saying. It's like some kind of madness of love. Why? Because in Madanakya Mahabhav, Srimati Radhika, she's actually sometimes meeting with Krishna, sometimes separated from Krishna in thousands of different universes. And when Madan Bhav comes, she becomes aware of herself in all these different universes. And what she's experiencing in one universe, she speaks that, and then in another one, that, and another one. Krishna looks at Radhika, he has no idea. What is she talking about? This is called Kramikriti Parihina Bibrate Tena Sadam. Mituiva Pariramba Ramba Vritaika Varshma. Oh Radhika, when will I see? At that time you embrace Krishna so tightly. It is as if your two bodies become one. In the form of Gauranga. When will my eyes become? They are filled with that joy of seeing this. That is Gaudia Darshan. Gaudia. This book is called Gaudia Darshan. What is Gaudia Darshan? This is Gaudia Darshan. It is the vision of the Manjaris. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur is the incarnation of Nayana Mani Manjari. Others, they don't have the chance to see such beautiful and intimate pastimes of Radha and Krishna. The Sakis even. Prana Prasta Saki Kulada Pikala Sankochika Bhumika Keli Bhumi Shurupa Manjari Mukasta Dasika Sangsraye. I take shelter of Rupa Manjari and her group. Because when Radha and Krishna meet together in the Nikunj, even Lalita and Vishaka and others, they recede. They recede into the background and go and sit underneath some tree somewhere on the bank of Jamuna, so Radha and Krishna don't feel any inhibition. But at that time, the maid servants, like our Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, they can come and go as is necessary for the service of Radha and Krishna. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he was feeling profound emotion and he began to speak this. He said, I wanted to explain this, but I spent so much time cutting jungle. So now, just now, I am leaving. But all of you should be together and take shelter of the Ashray Tattva. That means being in the shelter of Guru and under the shelter of Radharani, serve Radha and Krishna. This was his last instruction. And then our Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he requested Param Pujapad Srila Bhakti-Rakshida Maharaj to sing Sri Rupa Manjari Pada, and then he became aprakat, disappeared from this world. So our Gurudev, he heard this katha directly from Srila Bhakti Pragyan Kesh Maharaj, who was there. That time he was Vinod Bihari Das Brahmachari, very near and intimate disciple of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. So Gurudev heard these words, and when he heard this, then he understood something. You know that some people say, sometimes our Gurudev is criticized a little, or sometimes a lot even, by persons who are not so generous. They say that Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur He spoke so much Siddhanta in this way. He did not tell so much Leela Katha like Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Why is he speaking like this? Why? Because it's a continuation of Prabhupada's mission. Prabhupada said, I did this, and I wanted to do this, and he began it. So the next acharyas, it's not their duty only to imitate the previous acharya, but it's their mission to carry forward the desire of that acharya. If that acharya was still here today, they should be doing that. What they would be doing, that's what he's doing. So no one should see a difference. It's exactly the same. But if we understand the Shastra according to Vidvat Rudibriti, then you'll not become Sahajya. You understand the actual standard of Raganuga Bhakti, and then by hearing this Katha, sometimes, not always, sometimes you should hear. If you hear all the time, if you always take sweets, you have diabetes. So don't always take sweets. Huh? So we have to hear the Siddhanta, and sometimes from qualified persons who have realization, we have to hear the glories of Radhika's love and Braj Gopis and their eternal service, and glories of Rupa Goswami in his internal form of Rupa Manjari. So some greed will gradually come, and we can one day become qualified for that. So in this way, they are like a team. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur and our Param Gurudev, Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev, they're a team working together to make the current of Rupanuga Bhakti flow throughout the whole world. Gaura Premanande. Hare Krishna, I'm very grateful to you for sitting patiently. Yeah? Now I have tortured you enough, don't worry, tomorrow it will be very easy. Tomorrow is Sunday, so Katha will be very easy and very sweet. But today I wanted to take this chance. Everyone, please try to take 5 or 6 copies of this with you and distribute to all your friends and discuss it again and again, so that our line, our sampradaya, can remain pure Rupanuga Veshadhara, following all our great acharyas. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So sing one kirtan and then Mahaprasad will be served. Is the Pujari ready to offer the arti? Yes, who's the Pujari? Come and blow the conch and we'll begin the arti. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Nitai Doyal Go, Jaya Nitai Doyal Go, Jaya
Hare
भक्ति प्रमोद पुरी गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। नित्य पुरुषोत्तम विश्वारे ईश्वर सर्वशिष्टा भक्ति दाय माधव गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। नित्य पुरुषोत्तम विश्वारे ईश्वर सर्वशिष्टा भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्य पुरुषोत्तम विश्वारे ईश्वर भक्ति रक्षक श्री राधे गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। नित्य पुरुषोत्तम विश्वारे ईश्वर भक्ति प्रज्ञान केश गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। जय श्री भक्ति श्याम ठाकुर जगत गुरु श्री प्रभात की जय। भगवान गोक्षणस महाराज की जय। सतन गोस्वामी सतन ठाकुर भक्ति नोट की जय। श्री रूपानुग गौरी गुरुवा की जय। जय श्री रूप सनातन पत्र श्री गोपाल भद्र गोस्वामी की जय। Praise goes Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda ki jai. Shri Brajamanu Gatamanu Gauramanu ki jai. Tribhuvan Mangal Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Grantaraj Shri Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Govinda Govinda Balan Mohanju ki jai. Ananta Gaur Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Samagana Bhaktavinda ki jai. Madhasrasa Sprushabhavana Dini Smati Radharani ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande Haribo. Vrindaye tulasi devlai Priyaye ki savasacha Krishna bhakti puridoni Vancha kalpatarubhyascha Kripa sindhu